Let's
Shoot,
do it.
this is about to be a good one.
Hey, what's going
I'm
on
just
there,
mad Danny isn't
YouTube?
here.
This is SEL0320. We are back. I don't know who came
Fucking
in. They need to mute.
Transformers just landed.
They need to mute.
Sorry, Optimus Prime just came up
Oh my
in there.
gosh. I'm about to mute somebody.
Optimus Prime.
Okay, I'm gonna have to mute him temporarily just because I think that's him. I don't think.
Is that John?
Yeah, it is John. And I don't think I can mute him. Anywho, I'm gonna just do the best I can with this, you guys. So everybody that's in the chat right now, thanks for coming. We are celebrating and talking about Man of Steel. This is the 4th year. So in 2013 is when Man of Steel came out, directed by Zack Snyder, starring Henry Cavill as the new Superman, who's now the official Superman of the DC universe. And we're gonna kind of break this down, because there's been a lot of people that's talked about this movie for a lot of love and a lot of hatred. And some of us here like really loved it. Some of us thought it was okay, but we're gonna kind of break down what Man of Steel is for us personally. So if everybody that's here, you want to introduce who you are?
Go first. Hey guys, thank you again, Sam, for having me here discussing Man of Steel. Anthony Rodriguez doing movie reviews, TV reviews, and reactions, just like the new Black Panther teaser that came out. So yeah, happy to be here.
Sweet, appreciate that, Anthony. Thanks for coming, man. Who's next on the deck?
I'll go next. It sounds like we have like a soundtrack with this. Like we have like a bass line in the background. But anyways, my YouTube channel is Jarrell's Alexandria.
I am so sorry.
What?
Was that you? Oh my god!
I guess so.
Oh god.
But anyways, my channel is Jarrell's Alexandria. I review films, TV shows, albums, and a little bit of my own art I post on my channel as well. But that's a little bit about me.
Oh man, yeah, thanks for Jarrell, man. We actually started talking about this yesterday and wanted to kind of put something together real quick. We're gonna have some other stuff later, but thanks for coming, Jarrell. I got Mo and I got Jonathan. What's up, you guys? You want to introduce who you are on your channels?
Yeah, it's Mo Crosby from Earth 2. I'm really sorry about that feedback, guys. The thing is that we just finished recording our podcast, so I'm messing with like connections here. But yeah, from Earth 2, but I feel really bad. From Earth 2 Comicast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and SoundCloud for the podcast that we just finished recording that. Yeah, so you just check us out on there. We do comic book reviews, Comicast, movie reviews, a lot of stuff on there. We talk, like we did a whole hour and a half just talking about Black Panther and some other stuff on the podcast. Anthony featured on that one, so hey, check that out. Thanks for having me here, guys.
Yeah, you know what, Mo, I'm gonna forgive you, man, because I didn't even show up to that stream. So
Yeah.
it's all love, bro. It's all love.
Yeah.
Nah, man, y'all definitely gotta go check out Earth 2 Comic Cast. You can go to the description bar below. Everybody that's here, you can definitely go and check out their channels. And without further ado, Blackwing Jonathan, what's going on, bro?
Of course, save the best for last. I understand that. Anyway, I'm Blackwing 2040. Thanks for having me here, Sam. I know I missed out on both Wonder Woman discussions. I'm so mad at that, but I'm happy to be here to discuss Man of Steel. You on my channel, I do movie reviews. I do retro throwbacks where I talk about old school cartoons, voiceover videos, DC verses, and I also do comic book live reads. So check out my channel, and I hope you guys enjoy this discussion.
Yes, sir. So, all right, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. So, I'm actually, we're gonna take this back because all of us, most of us, I think, hated Green Lantern, right? Is there anybody that actually
No, I love that
liked
movie.
or loved Green Lantern?
Just
Okay.
No,
Good.
hold on.
Garbage.
Dang. It was bad. Okay, it was bad.
Real bad.
Yeah.
It's like, you know that bad movie you kind of like. It's a bad movie, but you kind of like it.
No.
Like, look, you know, like
no.
Wait,
even-
no.
No.
none of that, nothing.
Ryan Reynolds don't even like it.
Yo,
I mean, Ryan Reynolds is
they made
trash.
a whole nother movie just to disgrace Green Lantern. Anyway,
Hey, could you not make the suit green or animated?
look, but I can't say that because the whole point of this is like if Mo felt something for it, then that's what's up. Like I couldn't watch it again personally.
just a little bit. I've seen it twice.
I couldn't do it, man. So I mean, for us. Back then, coming off of what Christopher Nolan was able to do with Batman, that revolutionized what comic book movies could be taken seriously on the silver screen or on the big screen in general. So I think that a lot of us were like really hyped that Christopher Nolan was going to be a part of the inception of this new Man of Steel. I think they even, what was it, I Am Legend? I think I Am Legend, they had like a small symbol that had like Batman and Superman on it.
Yep.
So it was like everybody was already had this inception from that. And then what Christopher Nolan did was like, okay, this is the perfect fusion. You got the guy that directed, Dawn of the Dead. He directed, 300 and Watchmen. So, okay, you're going to have these two guys come together and make this. I'm just really curious what was going through you guys' head in the inception of Man of Steel. Moving forward, even though Green Lantern did really fail personally. So
Okay, before I say my stuff about Man of Steel, when I watched Green Lantern, I watched it twice. Like I didn't see it in theaters. I got it as a DVD as a birthday present. So it's a lot.
You didn't even spend your money on it.
Anyway, I watched the movie like probably watched that movie like 4 times. I watched it until I got the full gist. Like this movie was not good. Funny thing how my mother loves it though. I find that really surprising. But anyway, I do realize what the movie was trying to do, what it was trying to set up for. Like I'm a huge fan of the Green Lantern mythos, and I saw all the multiple lanterns that they had going for. Mark Strong made a perfect casting choice for Sinestro, but it was just like a cluster bunch of CGI and pretty much the entire film. And I was like, no. And that tease at the end of the movie had me going, and then I realized, yeah, they're not doing this again.
no.
But for Man of Steel, though, when I first heard about it, I just thought that, oh my gosh, we're getting another Superman movie. And coming up, like, because the last Superman movie we got was, Superman Returns. And to me, I found that movie kind of boring, actually. Not bad, but it was just boring.
Yeah. I get that. Wait, do you have anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Anybody else?
I thought his mic muted too. God damn.
Going into Man of Steel, what were your kind of your thoughts? Just like knowing that Zach was directing, Christopher Nolan was having a part of the producing role, and just the whole prospect of Man of Steel in general. Any of you guys?
I mean,
going into it, well, first off, I just want to say the Green Lantern. I forgot it existed for one.
I'm probably never gonna live this down, but it's okay.
The movie was just physically painful for me personally. I just didn't like it in general in any aspect. But wiping that way. But it was kind of weird because it just had been so long since there was a great Superman film.
Yeah,
that it almost seemed like the sort of cinematic Superman curse real, especially after Superman Returns, which I thought was terrible. Though there were some aspects that I liked, ironically, but overall, I just didn't really like Superman Returns. So I was hesitant about this, and I actually wasn't gonna see it in theaters until a friend of mine was describing this sequence where like someone like throws a train at someone in the film or something like that, and I was like, what? So I went in with really low expectations personally. And
yeah, don't even say what you thought about the film. I just really want to kind of go back and like think about before we actually saw it, and then we'll go and capitalize on what it felt after. So Mo and Anthony, what were your prospects going in?
I guess I'll go. So about Green Lantern, the worst part about it was I took a date. I took a girl to go see. I'm like, yo, this comic book movie's coming out. You're gonna love it. Yeah, no. We didn't date after that again. Like that was the first and the last movie we went to together. It was bad. Like she didn't like the movie. And so she judged. This was what she said to me live. She said, "Your taste in movies just goes to show, like, you know."
Oh,
So
Dang.
God damn!
Hating that movie? Why do you like it?
Because
God.
I think it saved me from a bad thing moving forward. So let's not go. I don't know, but I think it did.
That's raw. But yeah.
Now,
Damn.
Man of Steel, I think Nolan doesn't just get production credits. He also co-wrote the story. So he gets story credits for Man of Steel. So I was like, I'm in this. Like, first of all, Nolan is in it. And then I love Watchmen. So I was like, oh, Zack Snyder directed Watchmen. So automatically I'm going to go see this. And the thing was, we got those stills of Man of Steel. We got the still from Smallville where he's against the safe, the bank safe. And I'm like, the suit looks different. You know, Henry just body looks like what I've read in the comic books. So I'm like, yes, let's get it. I think I saw it the day it opened, and then I saw it like 3 more times. So yes, I was excited about it. And again, I didn't think Superman Returns was bad like Jor Ellis thought it was. I thought it was an okay movie with not a lot of action, but like, yeah, I was excited to see a Superman movie that looked like an animated Superman movie, and looked like something that they made Superman look hard. And I think that was what excited me about it. Was we've seen Superman, and from Superman 1, he's always been this happy-go-lucky character. Superman has been a hit or a miss, and it's mostly been one hit, a bunch of misses. But then Man of Steel, just watching all the trailers, they made him look hard. Yeah. You don't want to mess with him, So yeah, that was another reason I was like, yeah, I got to see this movie.
Nah, I feel you on
so
that.
I went in with expectations.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Anthony, you already said what you had to say about Green Lantern. We don't got to talk about that no more. What did you feel about Man of Steel before getting into it?
Okay. So going into it, it's funny because it was around the time I was graduating high school when Man of Steel came out. And before that, I was such a big fan of the Dark Knight trilogy. I love Christopher Nolan, Inception, Memento. And at the time, I didn't know who Zack Snyder was. I didn't follow his career. I was a time when I wasn't really watching a lot of movies. And all I saw was the credits, like the man who directed 300 and Watchmen. I'm like, those movies. So I guess that's on my to-do list to check those movies out. And I've never been a huge Superman fan. I've grew up with Spider-Man, Iron Man, watching the Justice League TV show, Spider-Man, the animated series, Superman, the animated series, Batman. And I never really but at the same time, I never got Superman, like the live action, because I've always kind of like thought that Christopher Reeve's kind of visual effects don't hold up, even though Star Wars came out a year before that for some reason. So say that what. But going into it, I was kind of like, I was really excited. Maybe the one thing that got my interest was that first teaser, the Dark Knight Rises. That's the only thing I really remember. So kind of like promotion, and I didn't know who Henry Cavill was, and now I know who he is now because he's, Superman. He was in that movie with Matthew Vaughn, Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then I heard but once I heard Christopher Nolan was doing this, I was like, actually, you know what? Let's see how he does. Let's see how he does, because I've been very critical of Superman. Like, I just think he's just Mr. Perfect. Like, hey there, citizen. You know, like just floating. Like he's perfect. He has no flaws. Been like kind of like realistic take on him. And I didn't expect the movie to be anything new, to take chances or anything like that. So that was kind of like my mindset before I went to see Man of Steel. Ironically, I didn't see it in the theater, so I like on like HBO or something like that. So that was me, my take.
And I'll try to be real brief. And to be fair, to help Mo out, I thought that Ryan Reynolds could have been a good Hal Jordan. I think that they should have gone with an authentic suit. I think they should have just kept a structural kept it cosmic, not been on Earth at all. And I think that definitely Mark Strong would have been a great Sinestro. But unfortunately, they can't revisit any of that. So those are my final thoughts about Green Lantern. It just sucked, but they could have been a really good opportunity with it. For Man of Steel, personally, for me, when Superman Returns came out, it was so weird. Like, I had so much hopes for Superman Returns. I wanted it to be good. I went and saw the movie a couple times in the theater because I was like, man, that sequence with the airplane was dope. Man, this one moment of him picking up, this entire, area of land is dope. But the movie itself tried to pride itself on being a sequel to Superman 2. And it was just like, it was flawed from its inception, essentially. Like it didn't have enough to branch off and doing what it wanted to do. And I knew that I think that they wanted to initially, the director wanted to do the follow-up being like either Brainiac or Doomsday. I think it was Doomsday, but they never got to that because they couldn't keep enough interest. Even though those rich scenes were there, it just tried to be too much of a copycat. And so when I saw, like you said, Mo, that one screenshot of him pressed up against the safe and looking like beat down, like I've never seen, Superman struggle. But whenever I did see Christopher Reeve struggle in a fight, like as Superman, that's what I loved. I didn't want him to be perfect. I wanted him to be able to fight. And I was like, what could do that to Superman? From that picture and then from the teaser alone with the voice, and they told me that they're going to get freaking Russell Crowe. They're going to get freaking, what's the name to play Jonathan Kent? I was like, let's go. I didn't.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah. I didn't know that until the movie came out that Hans Zimmer was going to be doing the score, because I actually love what Hans Zimmer did with everything, with The Dark Knight, what he did with the Sherlock Holmes movies. I mean, just Hans Zimmer is a legend just in itself because of that. But then Christopher Nolan being attached to it, I was like, this has potential to be great. But now that we've kind of built up this, what did you feel coming out of the film? And anybody can go as long or as much as you want to, but what were your impressions coming out of Man of Steel? Because I have my own, and I'm not going to go there because I'm going to get too passionate right now.
My Superman, period. I walked out and I was like, this is Superman. Like everything about him, like the fights, the strength, the flight. Like this is what I've always wanted. Because there was one scene in Superman Returns that I loved, or one sequence when he's flying through Metropolis and the shards of glass are falling, and he turns around.
Oh, that part.
And he turns around and he just melts him, and I'm like, yo, that was sick. But the his eye lasers, they looked like heat waves, even though it was a pretty sick moment. It was action sequence, but it just looked like just a bunch of heat waves. So I was like, okay, and then you see Zack Snyder's Superman, like when he shoots the lasers, like you actually see two separate beams of like, dude. I was just happy. I was like, I got to see it again. I'm not taking anyone to see this time, but I'm going to see this movie again. I learned my lesson from Green Lantern. No, but what I also loved about the movie was like the feelings of Superman that we know from different versions of Superman, like Superman 1. And like Sam said, it it was like, how do I say this? You never, Superman was like James Bond, where he never, like, you never saw him bleed, or you never saw him like struggle in a fight. But then you see Superman like actually struggle to beat Feora, and you see him struggle to be like that fight in Smallville was just like, I'm like, yo, everything, I connect with everything. I connect with him, you know. And the other part I connected with in this movie was him struggling to, him trying to find himself as Superman at first.
Yeah.
Because it was a story, like, it wasn't just like Superman 1 where he falls on Earth, you have Smallville, and because that is what Superman usually, he falls on Earth, you have a little Smallville sequence, and the next thing you know, we're saving people in Metropolis. Like, no, he went through a phase, like, he wasn't just Superman out the gate. He was, he was Clark. You saw Clark's development, and then when he finally, and just so everything that happened in the first half of the movie kind of really connects into the second half where First Flight happens. So I felt like his struggle up to that point, and then when he finally realized, like, what am I doing? I can do this. And he puts his knee to the ground and his hand, and then when he's flying, or the moment where he says, you know what, I have to go to the Indian Ocean. You guys try to stop, Pharaoh and them right here. I'm gonna go to the Indian Ocean. And then he's like, oh, you might want to step back, Lois. And it's like, step back again. Like, you've seen, because every other Superman iteration is he takes off really gracefully, like it's all like, woo, and this you just saw him take the fuck off. Like, he lifted off, like you saw dirt, you saw the ground like shake and stuff like that. And then when he took off to go to the Indian Ocean, he hit like Mach 3, like the first burst, and then the second burst, and then the third. I was like, yo, yeah, I'm seeing this again. So I was like, this is my Superman. Like, I think the hashtag is not my Superman because he didn't smile. Like, out of here. This is Superman. This is what he's about. Superman is not just about trying to smile and solve crimes. Like, Superman doesn't solve petty crimes. Like, that's Batman's job. Superman deals with, like, my bad.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
But let's be real. Batman deals with petty crimes. He's just like a hard body that deals with like regular crimes. He's a cop. But yeah, Superman is like, that dude. And I'm a Superman head. I love Superman. So this movie, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely the Superman for me, my generation. I'm gonna tell my kids about this movie. I'm gonna make my kids watch Man of Steel. They better love the Superman. Who knows what's gonna come out when I have kids, but this is our Superman.
They're gonna be Batman fans.
I'm happy. Nah, I'm gonna disown them. Like, get out of my house.
Savage.
I walked out like, this is Superman, period.
Oh my god. Anybody else? What did you feel?
I love the villain. The villain. Like, I also love the fact that they made. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. I could talk about this for a whole hour.
No, I would love to say something because I went to. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Superman. Like, my mom. I mean, granted, there's an extra R and L, but my mom named me Jor-El because she was obsessed with Superman. So it's a pretty big deal. But I had really low expectations going into the film, even though, ironically, all the marketing was actually pretty dope. But I was still like, nah, I thought the marketing for Superman Returns was dope, so this doesn't really mean anything. But I walked out of the movie like borderline speechless. There are so many moments that legit blew my mind. Okay, like the opening sequence on Krypton. Like, even to this day, I'm just like, holy shit, I can't believe he did that shit. Or like, where's some other huge moments from this film? There was just even one simple sequence where, towards, I think in the third act, when he's walking down the street to like get inside, some shit's about to go down with that female villain. I can't remember her name, unfortunately. Yeah. She was coming to whoop his ass. But when he was walking down the street, I was like, yo, this man is truly Henry Cavill, whoever. Like, he really embodies Superman to me. there was another moment that got me like that too, where it was just Clark at a bar, and this trucker was just mouthing off to him, like threw his drink at him, and I was like, I actually like genuinely felt for this man, Clark Kent, in this moment. I was like, damn, that's never really happened before in like a live action sense. I don't know. There's just so many moments like that throughout the film, and I just remember walking out just feeling speechless, just blown away. Even to this day, I'm just like, well, maybe fuck it. Maybe I should just give it a 10 out of 10. I never have, but still, it was. I was blown away by it. It blew my mind.
Dang. Jonathan or Anthony?
I guess I'll go next. I didn't have like any high or low expectations when I first saw this movie. I just like, went into the theater seeing, I'm seeing a Superman movie. Came out, loved this. And then as I was, coming on the car ride home after watching this movie, I immediately said like, this kind of feels a little bit like Superman 2 in a sense, because Michael Shannon's General Zod performance kind of reminded me of Terrence Stamp's performance, especially with the whole battle in Metropolis. It reminded me of that same battle in Superman 2 as well. And just actually giving us life on Krypton, even though Richard Donner did the same thing, except, we got, holographic faces and silver clothing and everything. But here we actually get full life on Krypton. And it just looked amazing. And just seeing Superman actually do what he does, like fly super fast, heat vision actually looking like heat vision and not heat waves, just actual, I would say, actual destruction. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
Awesome.
Dope. Anthony, what did you think, man?
After walking out of this theater, when I watched it at home, after watching Man of Steel, I was like, finally, man, relevant again. Like that was my first thought after watching the movie. The opening in Krypton is fantastic. The visual effects, Hans Zimmer, is epic and iconic at this point. I think it's better than the it's better than the John Williams theme in my opinion. But for different reasons. I love the John Williams theme for what it is for its time, but of the struggle of if a actual alien god came to what he would deal with, like balance that with trying to find his purpose and then trying to fulfill his human father's needs with Kevin Costner, and found a way to just with the flashbacks, I think, just showing his kind of like his side, even when he's like saving the kids in the bus, and then he's like, what should I do? Let them die, or oh my god! And I always get tears every time I see the scene when I just keep pretending that I'm your son, and then Kevin Costner's like, you are my son, and it's just like, oh, I'm getting teary-eyed right now just thinking about it, because it's just an emotional like, the first time he flies and when he breaks the sound barrier, like visuals that Zack Snyder creates that I'm like, I never would have thought of that. And the fight with Superman and Zod at the ending, like the closest thing we're gonna see to like a Dragon Ball Z like fight that's like so like epic, and the visual effects are just so amazing. It just blows my mind. And between him and Lois Lane, I didn't think it was forced chemistry. I thought they were good together. Jor-El, played by Russell Crowe, was such a standout.
Yes.
Like you couldn't have like gotten anyone better cast, especially coming from Marlon Brando. Like that's such a like tough. And I thought Zack Snyder did a great job, and I thought Nolan and it did a great job honoring the original Superman, but at the same time updating it in a way that's kind of like in our times, not like, hey, hello, he's saying cheesy lines like, what was it? line he said in Superman Returns, where he's like, "It's still the safest way to travel through plane or whatever," like something stupid like that. Like I hate that side of Superman.
It's still the safest way to travel. I'm like,
exactly. Like that, like stuff like that. I'm just cringing. I'm like, no. Like I get it. Like I get that's what some people love, but update this character. And I get, and it's funny. Some people say this movie's really dark, but it's not really that dark.
It is no Wonder Woman was darker.
Yeah, a little bit, but like there's moments of levity, you know, what like what you were saying when he's like, I would stand back a little bit, or even when one of the funniest scenes is when he's me like real quick, just that amazing reference, Reeve, when Superman's on that like underneath the world's engine, and one of the flashes of him like that close up is actually Christopher Reeve, which is something that just blew my mind. I'm not sure if you guys or anything. I heard about it like a year ago, but funny moments when he's like in front of the U.S. Army and he's like, "Don't play games with me, General," and then when they're talking, and then he's like in the room and he uses X-ray vision. You guys know you can't control me.
Yeah,
and there's so many funny moments like that. But yeah, I walked out for the DC universe, and wow, like Superman I character. It was a weird kind of like something I'll never forget, honestly.
Yeah. I guess I'll talk about mine's. This movie, it engaged me on every note that y'all guys said. I actually started doing reviews coming out of this movie because I watched the movie, and from the opening, I was just floored, one, by the soundtrack and how the tone was just so sci-fi and so visceral, and just it opened me up from the very moment that Kal-El was conceived and what his conceiving meant, you know what I mean, from the driving story throughout the entire film. From what Kurt Russell did with his performance, he was just leading it, what the visual effects were, the fight sequences that, reminiscent of during that time, even if it was 52 or prior to that, like this is the Superman that I'd always wanted to actually visually see. Whenever I looked at, like the Justice League cartoons, like I saw Superman's capability. One of the best lines in Justice League was when Superman was talking to Darkseid. He was like, "Oh, well, I always worry about breaking stuff. I always, have to hold back. What happens if I have an opportunity to really let loose
and show you just how powerful I really am?"
And he jumps off like
this
I was
man.
like.
So what I'm saying is that is what Henry Cavill was for this, but at the same time, he wasn't human. Like he had not the movie. A lot of people critique the movie and saying that this was dark. This man just went through life. Like he went through life on an extended standpoint because of his circumstances. Like he had an affliction. At the same time, it was a gift. The affliction is the standpoint that he is not human, and everybody will perceive him a certain kind of way, and he has to hide what he can actually do. And it's like every single time that I look at like comic books and I notice like how capable Superman is of hurting someone and what he has to do, like describing like what Jarrell was talking about, that guy like throwing beer on. I mean, he could have just plucked that guy and busted his head open with his finger. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he didn't do that. And the reason why like I was so provoked to do a review because I saw all these critiques just bashing the movie, and basically because for them, for their era, it was Christopher Reeve. It was the Boy Scout of their generation. But I feel like there are so many moments that Henry Cavill's presence was reminiscent of a Boy Scout, like him telling her back up a little bit, or him like chained up in the interrogation room is like, look, you can't really
makes him feel safe.
Me. Like, I want to make you feel safe. Like these are comments that, normal dudes wouldn't care about. I mean, Bruce Wayne would never say something like that. Like he said that out of the sincerity of his heart. But at the same time that I loved about this film, he was not a fully developed Superman. He was not in his prime. He had just started.
Yes.
So it's like, for everything that happened, yes, thousands of lives, hundreds of lives, that's a realistic situation. You got an alien invasion. What you think's gonna happen? Like, so I mean, I just really loved how they went for it. David Goyer and Christopher Nolan did a great job with the story. Zack Snyder with the visual immersion and the capturing of the nuance of Superman, and the soundtrack was just amazing. Every single moment, the flight, like you said, that was the moment I was like, this is going to be one of the classics for me forever. So I definitely will let my kids watch it. But they also are going to have to watch 1989 Batman. That's going to be the first movie they're ever going to see. So
what about the Reeve films?
You know what? They'll see the Reeve one after Man of Steel.
Right. I got a quick question about the original Superman film. I just want to see if memory is serving right. Is that the one? I don't even remember if this happened as it did, but I thought I could have sworn like Lois Lane died.
She did.
Yes.
And Superman
died, and
Superman like he flew around the Earth to like reverse time. Yo, I just gotta say, this is so random, but that was one of the most lit shit I ever seen as a kid. I was like, this nigga's woman just died, and he was like, fuck that. I'm about to fucking rewind everything and bring her ass back. That was like the dopest thing I've ever seen.
You know what's funny? You're right. Watching it as a kid, I was like, wow, did he just reverse? No, because, and then when you grow up, you realize that he reversed the polarity of the Earth. We should fall out of orbit. Like,
yeah, everybody should have, half the Earth should have died and just burned up. But no, I agree with Jarrell, because like you heard the voiceover of Jarrell, you know, telling him, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. He didn't care. He was like, look, Lois died. Look,
I'm fixing this.
I'm fixing my mistake. But
like one of the greatest scenes of all time.
It's
the horrible CGI, yeah.
I don't know.
CGI.
But it's funny if that happened today, though, you'd be like, nope.
Yo.
But, I mean, to be quite honest, though, like, Superman 1 with Christopher Reeve is a classic, but I don't think that it's better than Superman 2. And I don't think that it's better than some of the films that have come out recently, personally. I mean, I did like the Richard Donner cut, but it's like when I really judge Superman 1 as an origin versus some of the stuff that I've seen as of late, I don't know if it stands up, but Superman 2 will always be a better film. It's kind of like Spider-Man 2 is a better film than Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 1, yeah.
But Spider-Man 1 is still a classic. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's really interesting. But what do we think about Man of Steel? Could this be even considered a classic? And it's because people don't. The public perception doesn't say that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Forget them.
You can't. Took the words right out of my mouth. Forget them.
You can't. No, seriously. The reason why I think this movie will be a classic, why it will stand the test of time, is because with Superman 1, you've already called it a classic. You know, people are gonna go watch it, regardless of how you feel about it. When you tell someone, okay, if I want to watch the newest Superman movie out there, what Superman movie should I watch? You know, or how should I approach it? Well, you want to read this, you want to read that, or you want to watch this, you want to watch that. They will want to watch Man of Steel because you want to see a different development of Superman. You want to see, because again, what we know about Superman, and not with the exception of maybe American Alien, because in American Alien he went through some stuff. I think in Birthright he went through some stuff. Yeah. But like in certain iterations of Superman, it's just been like he falls to Earth. He gets picked up. You move to, you know, he there's Smallville High School, and then boom, you're in Metropolis. You almost didn't get that full experience of life, like in high school and all that stuff, like you would get in everything. But you got him going through life and having real life moments. So yes, well, where people see that as, oh, why should Superman have real life moments? Why can't he just be Superman? Why? Like I saw a critique say, he was a coward for 33 years before he decided to, like reveal himself. No, like, what are you talking about? No one just wakes up and decides, like, think about, no one just wakes up and decides, oh, I want to be LeBron James. Like, you go through stages, you go through high school, middle school, and all that stuff, because, no college. You go through all that stuff, and then you become, even LeBron, before he won his first championship, had to go through it before he won his first championship. So this makes Superman real. It makes him, again, he's an alien god, like Anthony said, but it makes him tangible. It makes him relatable. That's why I would think this is to me, it's a classic, because for the first time, Superman is not, for a while, wasn't just, a god. He was a man. He was regular. He was very regular. Barback, a busboy. He walked into, someone threw a drink at him. Because have you ever seen something like that where someone like disrespects Clark?
Yeah.
Do you, like, I'm watching that movie like, dude, do you know? Like, do you know? And then cut scene. What I also love is that when you cut from that, you go flashback and you go back to when the kids pushed him down. And he's grabbing the fence. And everyone else doesn't see, but Pete Ross saw it. He was like, yo, you know what? Maybe we should leave, and then someone was like, oh, his dad is watching. And then even Pa Kent was like, in my heart of hearts, I wanted you to hit him.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the bar scene where every one of us felt like, dog, do you know what you're doing? Like, I wanted him to punch the dude. I wanted him to flick him because you're being mad disrespectful. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Relatable. Very relatable. So every I feel like everything in the movie was like kind of felt like, then when he moves to, becoming Superman, and it's like, okay, he's now Superman, and I don't really relate to him anymore. But you relate to the man at first before Superman. So I think because of the way it was structured, it is a classic, and it should be rated or regarded as one of the, like again, someone says to you, so Justice League is coming, or let's just say 20 years from now, DCU gets rebooted. What is your watching reference to understanding this character? Man of Steel for me. To understanding the character, Man of Steel. And if you just want to watch a Superman movie, Superman 1.
Yeah. And I think that, to your point, that I never even thought about this. Like, he has been training for this moment his whole life. Ironically, when he gets 33 years old, he fulfills it. Just like symbolic of somebody else we know from the Bible. But I mean, the thing about the film was two different things that was going on. That there are a lot of references and symbolicisms from how he had to be trained and equipped. Because for Jonathan, first off, the sacrifice of life in the middle of a tornado, like, this man, honestly, he probably could have sped around the tornado, and got him out. But he listened, and he waited, and he suffered, to hone himself to be who he was. Even his whole race brought him to there to be able to make it, even though he suffered through that. I think that the movie, it's got like a lot of different symbolicisms in it. And like, I actually dissected the film in two different ways, symbolically. And I was just like really floored. The second time watching it, I was like, man, I didn't catch that reference. When he was talking to the priest, and the priest was like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't trust mankind. I don't trust my kind. And dude's like, you got to take that leap of faith, essentially. But I really do. I agree with you, Mo. I think that he earned the right to be Superman by the end of the movie. And a lot of people don't take that into consideration of Man of Steel. That is something to be commended. That he earned his place to be called Superman, and they never officially said Superman other than over the comm. They didn't
even finish it. It was like and then they got to the point where the general was like, oh, they got the Superman in tow. Like, after Smallville was when they officially called him Superman. But the movie was just, it shows you, like you said, earn the right. It's like you get to struggle with the man first.
Yeah.
Like, so in terms of, I want to understand Superman's character, but I don't want to read a book.
Yeah.
Go watch Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I want to understand.
Yeah, sorry I cut everybody off with that. My bad. I just kind of got a little passionate. Mo just started bringing up emotions out of me. But for you guys, do y'all consider this a classic? I mean, me and Mo have already said our piece on it. But what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Are you
I mean-
asking is Man of Steel considered a classic now, or like will it be in general?
I mean,
sometime
just
in the future.
I mean, I guess it's really, I guess, objective. Like for you, do you feel like it is for you already, or do you feel like it will be? I mean, it depends on how you want to.
I'm a huge fan of this movie, but and I could be totally wrong, but I'm gonna say no. I would say no on both accounts, because I feel like the reception now is no different than it was then. Just personally, I feel like the consensus is the same critically and like regular moviegoers, but it's going to be one of those films that's destined to be like a misunderstood masterpiece, but not like a classic, not like like Third Encounters of the Close Kind, or whatever the Spielberg film is, or like Indiana Jones, or it's not going to be looked at like that. It's going to be something like Unbreakable, the M. Night Shyamalan film, which is another misunderstood masterpiece. I don't think that's a classic either, but it's very misunderstood. It's very over. But I mean, the fact that so many people are starting to look back at it, or maybe I shouldn't say that because of spoilers. But anyways, no, I just would say it's considered a misunderstood masterpiece, probably for a long, long time. I don't ever see it breaking that classic barrier like The Color Purple or The Matrix or Lawrence of Arabia or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't get that vibe personally.
Yeah.
So, can I ask Jorah's question before everybody goes forward? So, because no, I'm sorry. I just want to understand. I just want to understand where he sits on in terms of classic. So, your classic comic book superhero movie would be '89 Batman, right?
The original Michael Keaton.
Yeah, the original Michael Keaton.
Batman. Yeah, that's a classic to me. Yeah, for sure. Original Superman. That's a classic. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to understand where you're, like what you hold in the classic.
Sure. Yeah, it sucks too because I genuinely think Man of Steel is like a near masterpiece, but for whatever reason, it's one of those films that really polarizes people. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could ever break into that.
You know what was funny about it is the critical reception of Superman Returns and the critical reception of Man of Steel are like polar opposites, but one is the other.
Yep.
And people will tell you, and people will tell you that Man of Steel was better than Superman Returns, but then for some reason when they both came out, one was regarded higher than the other because I will always say Superman Returns was a glorified homage to Donner.
It does.
Yeah.
It was.
It wasn't. It didn't have his own identity.
I don't know, man. I wish I was wrong too, because like Blade Runner wasn't. I mean,
That's a
that
good
wasn't
example,
like
yeah.
Wasn't
super.
great.
It wasn't loved the way like when it first came out.
Exactly.
The consensus wasn't like, oh, this is like a classic movie. Like some people were like, what the fuck was that? And then some people like loved it, and it took a long time for people to be like, yo, I think this might have been one of the greatest, so
movies or concepts.
It's hard to say, but I'm gonna say no, sadly.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people kind of compare Wonder Woman to that, Christopher Reeve era, and that's why a lot of the older generation, a lot of the people that, even look at any of the Christopher Reeve movies is like, this is classic. This is what Superman is. This is what this is, and they make that comparison. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of us, grew up in between, either in the 80s or the 90s. So we were able to either go latch with one or the other. But I think as critics, we have to be objective and subjective at the same exact time. You can't sit there and like, okay, this is what defines what is a great superhero film. Like, what does it mean? And I think a lot of superhero films, honestly, they don't even dare to ask that question because it's really for the flair, for the kids, or it's just for the eye candy. It's never something with depth and understanding. And I think that Man of Steel was definitely one of those. The Dark Knight was definitely one of those. And I mean, the reality is that, like Jarrell said, that from the public perception, they just couldn't latch onto that. Either one, they listened to the critics and didn't give it a chance. In their head, had already been like, nah, it was whatever. Or, those ones that really looked at this was like, wow, this was what I needed from a comic book movie. And I'm sorry, Anthony and Jonathan, I didn't get you guys to go, but
it's okay.
Stop interrupting us, Sam.
Yeah, well, no, I want to go.
Stop talking, man.
I want to go a different direction because it's getting a little late. I want to ask you guys specifically why. Why do you think it is? I mean, I've said my piece why I think it is that people have this negative kind of feeling about this movie or what their gripes were about it. I mean, why do you think that people felt like they hated this movie or this was a bad movie? Like, when I hear that, like, I just can't believe it. One of the people in our chat even says that, and I can't get it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna name him because he's a great YouTuber and I love him. His name's kind of like Anthony's, but we're not gonna go there. But it's not Anthony. But why do you think, Jonathan and Anthony, that people just rag on Man of Steel, unlike some other films like Superman Returns? Like most said, like it was not better than Man of Steel, and people knew that. But yet, somebody asked you today, what was a better movie? Superman Returns is just way better, just because, like, why? So I'm just curious from your perspective, both of you guys.
Well, through the many complaints, I've heard that Man of Steel is so bad. Most people I know said like the movie was boring, the pacing was off, Superman killing Zod was not supposed to happen, the death toll was too high. I'm like, you realize this is a Superman movie, right? There's gonna be destruction in this. And first of all, we didn't have anything like this in the Reeve movies or Superman Returns. Well, I would say close to it, but not enough. Right. This is a movie where we actually get to see Superman in his full potential. I would say not holding back as well, but we also get to see an actual, threatening, an actual threat. Like when you see Zod come down to Earth and just wreck Metropolis to pieces, you're immediately just shocked by what's happening right now. And then even that moment where he's trying to destroy the world engine that's in the Indian Ocean, and you can see the other scene that Perry is with his employees and you feel like they're about to die soon, but then they're not going to make it. It gives you those moments that puts you at the edge of your seat. And I feel like that's something that's never been done in a Superman movie before. And I feel like people just judge it because they think Superman hasn't really stuck to his morals, or like, oh, big blue Boy Scout, truth, justice, the American way, always does the right thing, always looks out for, the city, never leaves no stone unturned, yada, yada, yada. That's what I think people are getting the hating picture from.
Yeah, I've heard that too. A lot of people were like, he should have never killed Zod. Like, how could he let hundreds of people die? And like, I sit there, I think to myself, this is one man versus an army of trained soldiers. Like, I mean, what did they think he was going to be able to do just by himself? Now, in a realistic kind of standpoint, I think the Christopher Reeve movies implied death a lot of times, but they never really kind of showed it. This was just a realistic take. And I think that what I said to somebody, they were like, well, why did he kill Zod? Okay. I was like, well, let's flip that. Let's say, Clark was like, you know what? I'm not going to kill you, Zod. I know you're better than this. And then Zod just proceeds to burn this entire family. what does he do then?
Exactly.
That'll teach his lesson that life in and of itself, yeah, you can lock him up, but he still did that. And I think that one moment was where I was like, Zach, I'm happy that you did that. Or whoever wrote that scene, I'm happy you went there, because nobody would have ever dared to ask that question if you put yourself in that scenario. So, I mean, for me, like, I hate when people kind of say that, but I get why personally. But I don't know, Anthony, what did you think? Why some of the negatives and why people kind of just rag on this movie as being hated?
It's really like, it depends on like who you ask. Like Screen Junkies, like with like a burning passion, they had like torches outside of their studio, just like hating Man of Steel. Which I respect. I love those guys, but honest trailers. Like you guys were saying about Superman killing Zod. Wait, but didn't Superman kill Zod in Superman 2? Like, why didn't you guys complain about that back then? Stood that arc, like why? What's the difference? Like that Superman, he just like, oh, I'm just gonna push you to the wall, ha,
and just fall.
And this Superman, broken because he took someone's life, he killed the one person, the last Kryptonian that he knows of,
the
last person that's his father, from Krypton, and I never understood that. Another thing I think some people didn't like, Christian Harloff said this. He didn't like how Jonathan Kent, in the original, he died of a heart attack, and Superman can't control death. But I thought that worked because of like hypocrite when saying, should I let those people die? He said maybe. Him honoring that code to wait until he's ready for the world. So that's another thing some people seem to hate. And being honest, Zack Snyder. Some people don't want to believe it, but there are people who just don't like Zack Snyder's style. Some people just don't like his zooms, his color desaturation that he puts in his movies, which I don't really mind. They don't like his iconography. They don't like storytelling, even though it's Christopher Nolan's. He did with was it David Goyer, I believe. So it's really interesting, and I also think another thing that people didn't like is I think a lot of people had this kind of mindset of, this is who Superman is. This is my Superman. If he doesn't do this, then he's not my Superman. Which is really go into like movies. Even when I watch The Amazing Spider-Man, and I love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man more, I'm still gonna judge on terms and its own that movie's trying to accomplish. It's Christopher Reeve Superman 2. It's hard to. I prefer Superman 2 more, even though it's a little bit unfinished, which is unfortunate about what happened there. But I think kind of like for something new, and I do agree to extent what Joel was saying, how people who still to this day feel the same way how they did back then. But I don't know, more people kind of like get on that kind of like, wow, actually I didn't notice that in Man of Steel. Maybe sometimes it's a little bit of Metropolis, with that tying up with BVS, with seeing his perspective of that kind of like helped it a little bit, from a lot of people. But and the CGI, which a lot of people complain about, like there's too much destruction. And some people said that there was too much action, and I'm just like, this is the action I've been waiting for my entire life.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
legit show his full power, because hero that's like on top of like up to par with the Superman for me is Dr. Manhattan. Superman like kills anybody that gets in like his way, So yeah, a lot of stuff that I feel like people kind of like didn't.
Yeah.
So That's just my take.
Nah, I think that's really good. Somebody in the chat actually following him. He's actually really dope. Real Dunbar. He was talking about people. One of the critiques that people were having is that the third act, like a lot of people got killed. To his point, they said that Superman caused too much destruction, even though honestly it was the world engine. Which I've heard that complaint a lot. They were like, "Man, how did Superman allow this to happen?" Like the world engine really was what was crushing people all over.
Yeah.
And we saw like to the depths of that in BVS, to like Anthony said. But I think honestly, I think a lot of people just really wanted to complain because it wasn't the Christopher Reeve that they know. It wasn't like, lighthearted. It wasn't like Christopher Reeve, even though yes, he has really Boy Scout moments, it wasn't grounded in any kind of reality. He sit there and took like a freaking symbol and threw it at somebody, and it just happened to unfold. You know what I'm saying?
That was so
I'm
cheesy.
saying like, well, I mean, for that time,
Great
though,
Wall of China.
well, I mean, what I'm saying is that for that generation, for that era, that was what their understanding of what superhero movies about. It wasn't supposed to be realistic. It wasn't supposed to be heavy. It wasn't supposed to be grounded in reality. Like if a Superman is there, he'll stop everything that happens, unless it's kryptonite involved. And they were like, somebody else was like, there's not even kryptonite here, and he's getting beaten up. And it's like so, I mean, I think that a lot of people just had a lot of critiques of this film. But personally, I think that the amount of things that I loved about this film, outweighed any of the problems that I had with it. And did any of you guys have any real critical things to say about this film? I know we talked about what other people's perception was, but did any of you guys have any real critical things about the film personally before, we kind of close out and we just give our final thoughts on it?
I got something to say to that. Well, sort of answering the original question, like why does the film have so much negativity? Like, why might that be? For me, I think this might sound like a weird comparison, but like I feel like Man of Steel is no different than the premiere to season 7 of The Walking Dead, in that they are both extremely polarizing. Especially the hardcore fans. It's just very polarizing, or maybe to any fan really. Like with The Walking Dead season 7 premiere, people were like, whoa, that was like way too much. That was like torture porn. What the fuck's going on? And with Man of Steel, it's like there's all these desaturated colors. There's like this whole opening act, and Superman, technically speaking, wasn't really there. There's too much action. There's too much death. Blah blah blah. I think both are just in bold storytelling, and something different than what people were expecting. And sometimes people's reaction to different can be really good, like say with James Cameron's, usually anyway. But in this particular occasion, just I don't know. It's just not gonna work for everyone because it's just different. Not everyone reacts to something different positively, unfortunately, especially for something that's beloved as Superman. It almost seemed inevitable. It's kind of a story that Zach was trying to tell, but shit. What was the last question that you had to ask, Sam? Or our own personal criticisms? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Like if you had any criticisms at all,
sure. I'll try to be brief. I mean, I give the film a 9 out of 10. Man of Steel. Personally, I don't between Amy Adams and what's his name? Henry Cavill. I don't think it's that great, personally. It's not very good for me, their chemistry. I don't really believe it. I feel like their romance in Man of Steel wasn't done well to me personally. I mean, I accepted it, but I didn't. I still don't like their chemistry. They actually just come off as really good friends with benefits. But I never really bought into their chemistry, and I think the emotional moments in the film are they're good, but they definitely could have been better. What other criticism? Man, I haven't seen this one in a long time. Did I have any other real criticisms? There weren't too many. If some come back to me, I'll. Those are some that come to mind. Lois could have had better emotional moments, and I don't know. That's all I got at the current time. Anyway.
Okay. Anybody else?
For me, I didn't have any like negativities to this film at all. I was just, excited to see this movie. Will it go down as a classic? Yes, but not right now. I'll probably give it like about maybe until 2020 or 2021 until then for it to be like to gain like the classic status. But I didn't have no negativities going to see this movie. I loved every bit of moment in it. The action was on point. The tone was excellent. It was just, I felt like this was like the definitive Superman movie for this generation, in my eyes.
Yeah. No, that's a really honest and bold statement.
Yo, that was specific. You said 2020. What was the other years?
2020 or 2021.
God
Like-
damn. All right.
He was on point with his years.
You know what though? I'm gonna say
by
this.
2020, if Man of Steel isn't a classic, I know who to come look for.
Jonathan might be onto something because depending on how Superman comes out of Justice League could change the perception of the way they look at Man of Steel in general, because they will see how he started and who he is, and the sacrifice that even though some people hated BVS, like they have to find some kind of way of elevating his character. So that could potentially happen, Jonathan. So I thought that was a really dope statement. Mo or Anthony, do y'all got any critiques?
If I had a bad thing about, because I like I said, I just watched it this weekend. It was Lois, not even Lois, Amy Adams.
Oh shit.
She sometimes threw me off. It's just
We never really talked about her that much.
Exactly, because you're talking about everybody else, and she's, again, to her credit, she's a really good actor. But it's like Henry Cavill at that point was a relative newcomer. I mean, he had been in The Tudors, and then he had that movie that was like 300 before then, and so he hadn't really But Amy Adams had all this exposure, and I'm like, you right now aren't like really doing it for me as Lois. Like maybe again because I'm kind of partial on the character Lois Lane. I kind of don't like her, but so no, seriously, because if you ask me my favorite like Superman couple moment, it's from 52 when he was with Wonder Woman. I was like, yo, this is like perfect because
I'm sorry, man.
Man.
I'm sorry, man. No.
Like, I mean, we'll probably never see that on screen ever, because if anyone is gonna do a Superman story, it's gonna be Lois and Clark, which is whatever. But I mean, I don't know. It was Amy Adams, but this I think like Jarrell said, what makes Man of Steel what gave it like harsh criticism was it was different. Like it did a lot of things that, again, most superhero movies wouldn't do. Like a superhero killed someone. Like him taking someone's life is something that no other, like, what other superhero has killed anyone? Nobody. So no, how did the Joker die or not die in '89 Batman? Did he? I'm not really sure about.
Oh man,
he did the little thingy.
He grappled him to the gargoyle and he died because of what Batman did. I mean, low key though, with 1989, man, Batman killed out some people, bro.
Yeah, but it wasn't directly.
He put a lot of people in the hospital.
He shot.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't directly. Like he didn't like snap nobody's neck. So like,
In the Dark Knight, though, no one remembers that.
he was Two-Face at the time. Come on, man.
He had to die. By the way, I just want to say, like, so many people died in Man of Steel. So many. I mean, granted, they didn't show people dying, but yeah, like there was one time where Zod knocked fucking Superman down like 16 blocks or some shit. I was like, yo, that's not like
in like 7 buildings. Like, nah, yeah, like
Exactly.
no, but can we talk about the fact that the U.S. military was involved, like the U.S. Air Force was involved in killing people because you're flying your jets and you're firing missiles into something you don't know. And your missiles are misfiring. Like, no, but it's different. It's just
hold up. Nah,
like when I brought up
the government. First off, now them jokers got like Dragon Ball Z characters just like slaying them. Like I would have been scared too. Like this chick Fiora is legit moving with the speed of light, and she was just ruthless with it. Like when she was hunting old dude down, she killed off his whole platoon before she got to him.
Before she got to him,
ruthlessly. I was like, nah, dog, take her out. She gotta go. I hope she comes back though. I think they're in the Phantom Zone. Low key, I really do.
They gotta be. They have to be.
I'll leave that for another day.
Like when I brought up Superman Returns and Man of Steel, like Superman Returns was a very safe Superman movie where it gave homage to what came first, and it kind of kept Superman in that realm of okay, let's just follow the outline. Man of Steel said, "Fuck the outline, crumble that joint up, throw it out the window. This is new, this is fresh.
Burn it."
And so burn it. So it was just difference. Period. That's it. But and that's it. That's why it got like people had a set like because again, you look at Superman Returns 75% on Rotten Tomatoes and Man of Steel at 55. Like why? With Superman Returns had almost no action in it.
I think another issue. I think this is what I was gonna say. I think another major issue I had is that this is sort of like many things at once, but everything that it lacked in or there wasn't a lot in, I think it actually needed for it to be a 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Like I think it could have benefited from more emotional moments. I think it could have benefited from more moments with the parents, especially when you got Diane Lane and Kevin Costner, for God's sake.
Might as well have a lot of them in it.
I think they could have done a way better job at orchestrating the chemistry between Lois Lane and Clark. Because if I didn't know about Superman, I'd be like, why is there so much emphasis on this reporter? You know what I mean? But I think that's mostly what it is. Like even like the dialogue could have been better. It wasn't bad, but there's only like a few truly memorable moments for me. Just things like that, things that lacked in.
So you saying that if they took the emotional chemistry from Wonder Woman and put it in Man of Steel, you would have had a 10 out of 10? Well, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I get what you're saying with that because I think they could have extended a lot more there, but the problem is that they had to refine who Superman was.
Because the movie was kind of like small emotional moment,
big action piece,
huge action moment.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Zach was like, "Yo, fuck that with Superman Returns. We're about to
we about to turn this up. We about to turn it up." No, but I kind of disagree with a little bit because, it is a small emotional moment because when Zod was finally fell down. Yeah. And you saw him pick the dirt. I think I was describing this to Anthony earlier. You saw him pick up dirt and say, "This is Krypton. Like, this is my world. You've just, Krypton is no more. Like, my sole purpose." I connected with everything. I kind of was like, maybe he's not that bad.
I kind of pitied him at that moment.
In that moment, you kind of felt, and he's like, "I will kill everyone, starting with you." And that's where the action turned up. It was a very small emotional moment. You kind of felt bad for Zod, like, dude, like,
right?
He's not really a real person. Like, most real people will have an emotional spectrum. Mm-hmm. He was made, and this is how he was made. So you kind of see his point. He was like, blinders on to everything else. This is me. I'm focused. So in a way, it made you feel like Zod wasn't a bad guy. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the DCU's best villains. A lot of people don't agree with me, but as it stands for me now, he's still one of the best.
What other villain has the DCU had?
Um,
To be honest.
Doomsday, Cyborg, Superman,
Ares was
Oh,
Brainiac, Darkseid.
No.
wait, no,
I'm talking
he's
about
talking about
in the
DCU.
DCEU.
He's talking about
Oh.
yeah. There hasn't been that many.
I mean,
Nope.
let's talk
Yeah, I
about the
mean,
Daniel Suicide
besides
Squad.
Neo,
New.
Lex and oh boy, they got his whole part cut out of the movie. We're not gonna go there. All I'm gonna say is let's close this out. Unanimously, we can say that we enjoyed Man of Steel. That we appreciated what Zack Snyder did for it, what David Goyer did for it, what Christopher Nolan did for it. The score was amazing. You guys have any closing thoughts on Man of Steel and what it means for you now? And do you have any prospects for Justice League? I know where you stand with it, Jarrell. I'm not even gonna go there with you.
No. Can we all?
It's gotta be
all
very
hear it?
short
Because you know
because
it.
I actually gotta go to bed, go to sleep, but it's gotta be very short. So yeah.
Oh shoot, I'll start. Man of Steel for me, like, it's just a perfection, close to perfection as we can get in a movie. And what it does for me in terms of Justice League is I watched it again this weekend, and I watched it again just to see, because I didn't watch it before I saw Wonder Woman, but I watched it again to kind of compare, and I'm like, in terms of this movie, the second movie that came after, and in Justice League, there's been progression in each movie for Superman, and I want to see more than anything else. All I've wanted since Man of Steel was to see his progression in the end of it. You know what Zack Snyder's trilogy is, because he wanted a trilogy, and this is what I just want to see, how he shapes Superman. So I'm actually, like, every time I see Man of Steel, every time I see Henry as Superman, or just see Henry take a picture, I'm like, yo, this means, like, he's always smiling, he's always happy. So this means that something is gonna happen in Justice League that I'm excited for, that has him, like, his demeanor, like when he was waiting for his reshoots, with his coffee in his hand and just chilling, like, yo, something's happening. So that's what I'm. So I'm ready to see Justice League tomorrow if it comes out.
I'll be brief. I mean, I gave the film a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I have gripes with it, but I think it's a near masterpiece. Um, by the way, I just want to say I thought that Amy Adams, granted what they did with their execution, but Amy Adams was a perfect casting choice for Lois Lane. For me, perfect. Honestly, I thought she was perfect. And also, if anyone wants to know, there's only been one Superman arc that I've ever given this 10 out of 10 to, which is called Superman's Secret Identity. It was a 4-issue comic book back in 2004. It's by or at least was written by Kurt Busiek. But yeah, Superman's Secret Identity is the only Superman arc I've ever given a 10 out of 10. So if you want to know what Superman 10 out of 10 story looks like to me, that would be it.
That's a really good one. You should read Birthright too if you haven't read that one too.
Yeah, Birthright is up there.
John, you can go first.
Right
All right, sure. I mean, what else can I say? I love this movie. It's pretty much your modern day Superman film, and I say it really doesn't deserve all the hate that it's getting. It's really, you just gotta look past the bigger picture and just like dig deeper into what the tone of the movie is trying to show you. And I feel like I'm really excited for Justice League. I feel like they're gonna do Superman really, really well. And the good thing they did not show him in the trailers, because I mean, we don't need to see him in the trailers because we've got a poster from San Diego Comic-Con last year that showed he's in the movie, so we don't really need to see him yet. I just know that somewhere in Justice League we're gonna get that one probably epic moment. He'll appear in the most epic way. Probably, he'll probably just swoop in the speed of sound, and just the camera just pans up and boom. That's what I feel like that's gonna happen.
Awesome. To be considered a classic, maybe like similar to 2020. The thing is, like, to be considered a classic, I think you need to be copied first. Like when you watch Blade Runner, all these movies like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, The Matrix, Minority Report. You see all these movies that copied. And I feel like when you see Superman, you see like the Marvel movies kind of like homage to it with the sense of humor, the use of color, and all that stuff. It's going to take time for the up there. I personally would consider it a masterpiece and a classic, but I think how other superhero movies kind of like to it. I mean, a little bit in Doctor Strange with the capes flapping and iconic poses, stuff like that. A little bit, but because it's still very recent. Ironically, 4 years, in my mind, But I love this movie, and it's already my most anticipated movie of the year. Biased because I love Zack Snyder and I love his work, except Sucker Punch. But I think that I'm excited to see Aquaman and Flash, and I hope Superman comes back in the black suit, with his freaking mullet and just the nice ass, big ass, and then hopefully we could see him back in the red undies that everyone's kind of been complaining about. Everyone was like, "Yo, where's the original undies that he had?" And personally, I don't care for it, but I think it would be good to it's crazy. People actually complain about that. That's crazy.
Oh my god,
man, fuck them fans.
I already told you what to do. Forget them,
bro. Listen, the costume is perfect. It is.
Yeah,
I think it's perfect.
It almost reminds me of like a bizarre layer of skin or something. It's weird, but I think the suit is straight perfect.
Yeah, they're gonna get.
One more thing before we go.
The one thing I never understood is if it gets ripped up, how's he gonna get another one? That's the one thing that ever confused me.
Well, I mean, no. The reality is he's gonna have to get another one because the one that he has a hole in it. So whatever suit he gets, it's gonna have to be. Damn. Yeah, well, they could get Ma Kent to make him one.
Additional Ma Kent sewing.
Oh my god.
Hey, so y'all know that Danny Elfman is gonna be scoring Justice League?
Yes.
Yep. That's lit.
And I am excited, bro.
That's gonna be lit.
He's tackled now Batman, Spider-Man, and now he's gonna be tackling Justice League. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it.
But
we better get like a bit of a homage theme to the Justice League TV show. We better get like something.
I think we will, because I think with Batman, the animated version used his theme.
It did.
So I think he might be like, okay, since you used mine, let me
use yours.
Nah, but do you see the space between all those epics that you mentioned? Batman in '89, Spider-Man in 2002? Yeah, and now Justice League in 2017. There's been a lot of room in his work, man. He did A Nightmare Edward Scissorhands, and he did Before Christmas. He's
done one of the best films, masterpiece films.
But he's that's the thing. He's great, and then he's not, and then he's great again, and then he's not. And let's just hope we get him in the moment of greatness, because I'm kind of because you remember, he did Age of Ultron. Was it Age of Ultron?
Did he?
Yeah.
Either the first or Age. Yes, either the first Avengers or.
Let me see his film
That's
work.
true. He did the first Avengers. I'm pretty sure.
I know he did the first Avengers. I don't know if he did Age of Ultron.
Yeah, it's the first. It's the first. My bad. It's the first. So that was in the great moment, because when they pan, that 360 pan, that was a sick thing. Yeah, let's just hope.
Man, I'm terrified of Justice League. I'll be honest with you.
Oh man, I already told you.
Here we go.
I'm just saying.
Look, I gotta go to bed.
Everyone is allowed to be. So
I gotta go.
Let's close out. Let's close out.
Yeah.
Let's end here.
But to comment
let's
on
not
what
get
you
into
said
Justice
about Danny Elfman, he actually was the composer of the old Flash TV show as well.
Really?
And he also
The
did
90s?
Dick Tracy.
Wow.
The
Okay.
dude
Okay.
is,
You know what?
he's
I
a
feel,
vet.
I feel a little better. I feel a
He's
little
a
better.
vet.
He's got a huge body. He's got a huge body of work, though. Danny Elfman.
But he has some.
Mission
He has
Impossible,
some corny
Men in
things.
Black.
Yeah, but I mean, Danny Elfman's laying up real numbers. He's got a stupefying amount of albums, just like Hans Zimmer or James Horner or whatever.
I just kind of wish we kind of got Junkies so we can have like a kind of flow through.
I think that they're gonna make a combination. I think that they're gonna pull their themes from Hans and Junkies. There's no way they can not do that.
Superman has his, Batman has his, and Wonder Woman has his. It's just the Flash and everybody else needs to get theirs.
Yeah, but anywho.
Oh wait, you guys were right. It was Age of Ultron. He did, not the first Avengers. It was Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So and Age of Ultron was not memorable at all. In terms of like the Avengers didn't have like a theme, but
well, I didn't really like Age of Ultron personally, anyway. But we're not. That's another day. We need to close out.
Yeah, let's close out.
We got Marvel discussions to come.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go to sleep, guys.
Because this is gonna be the next thing I'm gonna bring up. Kind of just like this, I'm gonna ask you guys this huge question: how do you think Spider-Man: Homecoming is gonna be? Is it gonna be good or is it gonna suck? Is it gonna be classic? Is it gonna be mediocre? We're gonna talk about this another day, you guys. Thanks everybody for coming out. Definitely go to the description bar below and definitely like and subscribe. All these men, they're awesome content on YouTube. If you don't know who Blackwing is, definitely go and check out his YouTube channel as well, because I don't think I put him in the description bar. And we out, everybody.
$50 says they're gonna fuck up and they're gonna show Superman. They are. They're gonna show them.
Cut his mic off.
They're gonna mess it up.
Boom, boom.
Dirty bastards.
No,
But
I mean, think about it. They didn't show Ares and Wonder Woman. What makes you think
They never did. They never
showed her in the trailer, which was nice.
They never
smart.
did.
Which was true, but I have a feeling. I have a sinking feeling they're gonna show his ass in the trailer. It's gonna piss me off.
Well, okay, so
because people have asked for it though.
Okay, because I gotta leave, I'm gonna say one last thing. There's a strong possibility that the Superman that we see might be a clone, or it could be cybernetic, and they have not showed who the real Superman is yet. So if they do hypothetically do that, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt until I see the movie this time.
I was just talking about like the black suit mullet Superman.
I think that
we're not gonna see that. We're not gonna see that.
I don't think they're gonna show that in the trailer.
It's a possibility. No, they're not gonna show that in the trailer. Trust me.
I think
I got $50 on it.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right.
I'm telling you, they don't fuck up.
All right, everybody on YouTube, we're out.
All right, peace.
Y'all take care. We're ending the broadcast.
Justice League is gonna be a masterpiece.
Happy 4th anniversary. Shout out Zack Snyder. We love you. Come back soon.
We're here for you, Zach.
Later, bro.
Got you, bro.